Okay, this review will be on the 2003 World Series champion Florida Marlins. Let's get right into the offense here. The offensive part of this review will go by pretty quick because there was no platooning in the 2003 Marlins lineup. They went with the same lineup versus righties and lefties according to the strat book. So let's get started with the top of the order. We look at the on base chances for Juan Pierre and Luis Castillo. Pierre's numbers are a little bit low. I like to see them a little bit higher than that. Castillo's numbers are looking good. Again, he hits second in the order. Now let's look at the middle of the lineup. Let's look at 3, 4, 5 with Rodriguez, Lowell, and Encarnacion. Um, their numbers are looking good when you look at the on base chances and the hits with multiple base advancement. You could see Rodriguez and Lowell really take care of lefty pitching really well. The numbers against right-handed pitching worries me a little bit, and I'm going to go deeper into that as I wrap up the offense in a couple of minutes. You're going to see, however, that the lineup does extend really nicely as you look at 6, 7, 8 in your order when you look at Lee, Cabrera, and Gonzalez. Those are numbers that you normally don't see. Especially out of your 7 and 8 hitters. So that is something which is really going to help salvage the score offensively for the 2003 Marlins. Because one of the things that this is almost like for me, it's almost like one of those built-in biases that I have when I look at these Strat-O-Matic teams is I don't like it very often when a team is tilted too far either to the left or the right. And you could see by looking at all these numbers that if the 2003 Marlins are facing a right-handed pitcher who just kills right-handed hitting, you could see this offense can struggle a little bit. Now they're going to put guys on base, but I just wish this offense had just one guy in the lineup who you knew can take care of right-handed pitching. Granted, this offense will eat apart left-handed pitching when they get the chance, but I just wish there was a little bit of a lefty presence in the lineup in the middle of the order. So you could see overall, I have the 2003 Marlins offense come out at a 3.2 out of 5, which basically means they're an above average offense. Um, the on base chances are not great at at the top of the order, so that scored a little bit low. And you could see what I gave the middle of the order. One of the things that actually did save this offense, like I said, was the nice numbers that you get, especially out of 7, 8 with Cabrera and Gonzalez. Again, those are numbers that you generally don't see that low in your lineup. So that did help the righty lefty mix and depth in the order score. But you can see overall the 2003 Marlins offense comes out to a 3.2 out of 5. Now let's look at the Marlins defensively. Everything is looking really, really good for the 2003 Marlins in the field, and you could see they score a very, very good score. I don't give this score out a lot when it comes to defense. They grade out at a 4.7 out of 5. Everything is looking really, really good across the board. You see the infield defense right there. I guess the only blemish, if you want to call it, in the outfield, Cabrera is a 3, but at least his E rating is looking really good. You see the overall E rating score is outstanding. Again, I really like the middle of the infield. All the E ratings check out. So an excellent score for the 2003 Marlins defense, 4.7 out of 5. Now let's look at the Marlins starting rotation. I went with Josh Beckett as the ace, so we'll get started with him. You see his on base chances, and what I really like about Josh Beckett's card also is he uh, very nice at keeping the ball in the ballpark. So you're looking really good with Beckett as your ace. Now, I'm going to show you the numbers for Pavano, Redmond, Penny, and Willis all together here. Now, these are your 2 through 5 starters. And this is one thing which kind of dawned on me a little bit when I was going through the Marlins is I don't think I've ever seen a Strat-O-Matic team where you have 5 really solid starting pitchers. I mean, this is a really impressive starting rotation that the '03 Marlins throw out there. Now, I have seen better rotations in the sense of where you maybe have 2 or 3 complete lockdown starting pitchers. Like some teams that come to mind are like teams that had like incredible threesomes, like the 1969 Mets with Seaver, Kuzman, and Gentry. The 96 Braves with Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, the 1970 Orioles with McNally, Cuellar, and Palmer. Even the 1981 Yankees had a great threesome with John, Guidry, and Righetti. So I'm not saying that the Marlins approach anything like that, but as far as a group of starters, 5 starters, this is one of the more impressive starting rotations I've ever come across in Stratomatic, and it's reflected in their score. The overall starting rotation score comes out to a 4.5 out of 5, and I don't give scores out like that very often. That is a very good score for a starting rotation. And the other thing that sort of came to mind when I was looking at the '03 Marlins is if you are sitting down and you're doing like tournament play or something like that, or you're playing like a best of 7 series, someone's got to be left out of the rotation. Unless you want to go with 5 starters, I guess you could do that. Or maybe you're doing like house rules where maybe one of the starters, even though they don't have relief on their card, maybe you have a house rule where it's like, okay, well, a starter has to start an inning out of a bullpen. They can't close the game, and their point of weakness is like they're after 6 batters or something like that. Whatever house rules you play with, that would certainly help the bullpen a little bit. But no, it is a very impressive starting rotation for the 2003 Florida Marlins. And once again, a very nice score of a 4.5 out of 5. Now let's look at the 2003 Florida Marlins bullpen. Let's get started with closer Braden Looper. Um, Again, this is one of those scenarios where even though I know his on base chances may look a little bit high, um, what I do really like about Looper's card, and I've hit on this many times in the past, I would gladly trade a slightly higher number when it comes to on base chances, so long as that pitcher keeps the ball in the ballpark, and that's what Looper provides you. You can see he keeps the ball in the ballpark. I know some people may get a little scared away by those on base numbers, but at least neither one of them is hitting double digits. And another thing which I really like about Looper is he's a 2 inning reliever, which also helps as well. And I'm going to get into that as I go deeper into the bullpen. Your primary setup guy was Ugeth Ubina. You see his numbers right there. His numbers are looking just outstanding. This is a card that is really you're going to see is really going to save the Marlins bullpen. Not only does he have a complete lockdown card, but he is a 2 inning reliever, which is really going to help the bullpen because as I go deeper in the bullpen, I'm going to show you the numbers for Nate Bump, Tommy Phelps, and Michael Tejera. Um, you could see that these numbers are a little bit lacking. Bump is a right-handed pitcher who you could see has a lot of issues when he faces left-handed pitching because of the home runs that he has on his card. So he's one of those examples of where you've got a righty that I would leave him in only to face right-handed batters. Um, Tommy Phelps is a lefty reliever who, granted, he does keep the ball in the ballpark, but his on base chance numbers are in the double digits. So that's a little bit concerning. I just wish his on base chance numbers were just a little bit lower. And you could see Tejera is a guy, he's a lefty who is pretty good at getting right-handed hitters out as well as he keeps the ball in the ballpark, but he's not a guy who you want to have facing left-handed hitters. So the 2003 Marlins are a team where obviously when you're playing a game, your plan of attack is going to be okay. My starter's going to go 6, 7, maybe 8 innings, and I'm going to hand it right off to the bullpen. If you get into a bullpen game with the 2003 Marlins, you could be in a little bit of trouble. There is not much there when it comes to the depth in the bullpen. Overall, I gave the Marlins bullpen a score of a 3.4 out of 5, which is still a decent score. Really, what saved the 2003 Marlins bullpen score was the fact that their top two guys are 2 inning relievers. So you can eat up some innings with the two of them. But again, like I just said, if you find yourself in a bullpen game where the starter is pulled after 3 or 4 innings, you're going to have a lot of trouble getting outs as you go deeper into that bullpen. So as we look at the 2003 Marlins as a whole, you're going to see that they grade out at a very good score of a 3.95 out of 5. If you want to call it a 4 out of 5, go ahead. And again, once again, don't pay any attention to these final scores. Those are just my opinion. I just do it to put a bow on everything. But the strengths of the 2003 Marlins is very obvious. They have a very good starting rotation. They are not going to hurt themselves in the field as they're very good defensively. And you do have two very capable relievers coming out of the bullpen. So that is something that did save the overall bullpen score. And once again, just to go back to the offense, I just wish this team had a big lefty bat in the middle of the order. I just wish they had a little more of a presence so that you had a go-to guy who you knew when he came up versus a right-handed pitcher that the other team was in trouble. Because again, the team is tilted towards the right-handed side of the plate, and that wouldn't bother me so much, just so long as one of those right-handed hitters had a multiple base advance number that approached like the 6, 7 area. But the 2003 Marlins just don't have that. But you can see overall they still graded out at a very good. I'll call it a 4 out of 5. I'll round it up to a 4 out of 5. They still graded out very nicely at a 4 out of 5. So those are my thoughts on the 2003 World Champion Florida Marlins. Once again, I thank you all for watching. It is greatly appreciated. And my next review will be on the 2005 World Champion Chicago White Sox. Have a good day, everyone.